Welcome to Free to Cook. In this episode, I'm going to be showing you how to cook Texas-style beef brisket. When cooked perfectly, brisket is one of the best barbecue meats. This is going to be a 10 to 12 hour cook, so the key to a great brisket is good fire management, time and patience. In this video, I'm going to be cooking an 8 kilo whole brisket for 12 hours on the offset smoker. I normally get up around 4 AM for a brisket cook, so I can serve dinner at about 7 PM. First things first, light a chimney of charcoal. I like to use clean heat charcoal. It burns hot and it burns for a really long time. You want to bring your pit up to a temperature of around 270 Fahrenheit, that's 135 Celsius. Now your pit's warming up, it's time to prep the brisket. This brisket isn't going to need too much trimming. Start by cutting out the large piece of fat that sits on the edge of the flat and the point. This is never going to render down, so you'll want to cut out most of it. I also like to remove the flap off the point. Don't throw this away because it's a good treat while you're cooking, and it's also a really good indicator of how your cook is going. Trim the thicker bits of fat, but leave a thin layer. This will help keep the brisket moist, and once that fat renders down, add a heap of flavour. Turn the brisket over and trim off any large bits of fat. Once you feel like you've trimmed enough, it's time to make the rub. Texas-style brisket has an extremely simple rub. In a small bowl, add black pepper and then the same amount of salt. Mix together and there you have it. Coat the top of the brisket with an even amount of rub. Don't overdo it because you want to strike a balance between the salt and pepper and the natural flavour of the beef. Turn over the brisket and coat it with the rub. This brisket is ready to go. Continue to maintain your fire. Add wood to the charcoal. I'm using blue gum, which has a similar taste to post oak, which is hard to come by here in Australia. Now the pit's sitting around 270 Fahrenheit or 135 Celsius, it's time to add your brisket to the smoker. Place the point end towards the firebox. This will help protect the flat from overcooking. Close up your pit and try not to open it for the first 3 hours because these are the most important. In this time, the meat will take most of the smoke flavour and set you up for a really good cook. Check your temperatures every 20 minutes, adding charcoal or wood when needed. The skill is to find the right balance between adding enough fuel so the temp doesn't drop or spike. After 3 to 4 hours, open up that pit. Time to check your brisket. It's coming along nicely, but it's losing a bit of moisture. So in a spray bottle, I've added a bit of watered down apple cider vinegar. This will keep the brisket moist and also add some flavour. Try and repeat this step every 45 minutes. At about the 8 hour mark, it's time to wrap. You can use foil or butcher's paper. Either way, this will help lock in the flavour and help the brisket finish rendering. Spray the foil before placing the brisket in the middle. Give the brisket one last spray and wrap it in foil. Cook for 4 more hours. At about the 12 hour mark, it should be ready to go. You can measure the temperature, but I find every brisket has a different finishing temp, so I go by touch. Brisket should easily bend on the flat and feel nice and soft on the point. Take it off the pit and let it rest for at least an hour. If you find that it's finished too early, wrap in some towels and place in an esky with the lid on. This is called holding and it will keep it warm for at least 4 hours, but the brisket can continue to cook, so be careful. This brisket is looking amazing. It has a nice dark bark. Time to slice up this brisket. Start with a flat, cutting pencil thick slices. Make sure to cut smoothly so you don't break apart the meat. Now find where the point starts and slice in half. The grain on the point runs the other way, so turn and slice. How beautiful does that look? I'll stop talking so you can enjoy. There you have it, delicious, tender and packed full of flavour, Texas-style beef brisket. This takes time and practice to get right, but when you get it right, this meat is to die for. If you like this video, don't forget to share it, subscribe to the channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and if you have any recipe suggestions, leave them in the comments.